And if you think this is naturally attainable with gigantic gyno, I have a problem with that. If you think this is okay, I have a problem with that. If you think it even gets worse and you are looking like a water balloon and the nipple is popping out like it is a golf ball and your arms getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I have a problem with that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video. In this video we're going to talk about the new released documentary, which is called Generation Iron number 4, about Natty for life. Now, as you all know, I have made the documentary I Am Natural Bodybuilder. If not, click the link here. It's an amazing documentary where you will be seeing my journey through contest preparation, the last few days up until with the show day and everything that goes on with it. With that being said, this is a new documentary about natural bodybuilding. Natural bodybuilding, you know, is something that means a lot to me, and I will do everything in my power. I will do everything in my ability to show the people in the world what you are capable of doing with natural bodybuilding. That you don't have to use stuff and these performance enhancing drugs. So, with this video, we are going to look inside Generation Iron number 4. I'm going to critique. I'm going to give my fair opinion about it. And I've not seen it yet, so everything will be blunt. And I will have to see how I'm going to construct all this while doing the video critiquing. So yeah, we are on a road of 1 hour and 47 minutes, but we will pick out only those cases where I have an opinion about. I'm going to let you know when I'm hesitating. And the reason because I'm critiquing is pretty simple. Whenever we're making these documentaries, whenever we're making these beautiful things, movies, whatever you have, if a lot of people watch, you are setting an expectation. And by setting expectations, there is a responsibility that comes with it. That responsibility is if people are going to believe it or not. So, therefore, I was feeling obliged to give my fair opinion about it, being a member of the natural community with 14 years. I think it's almost 15 years already. Almost. So therefore I give my fair share of what I think about it. Let's start it. Let's get it done. And boom baby, we are back. Documentary starting, guys. I want to see it with my fair eyes, with true color. Let's get it on. Oh, Mr. Rob Terry. Iron Brew. Freaking amazing.
The bodybuilder at its root is concerned with self-development.
I agree.
Self-mastery. If you are in a day and age where you can more easily get drug information about PEDs and how to cycle before you can get exposure to what the significance or value of a rep is, that is a problem.
Guy Green, 100% sure, my man. You are on point. This is a problem that we face every single day. I see a lot of youngsters, you know, going out to the gym without even knowing what they are doing. And the first thing they're grasping is, hey, what do you have for me? What kind of drug can I take to enhance the process? So, very spot on.
Because it makes it so that you are not able to be put in line to appreciate the art form that this is, that this represents.
So Kai Green is talking about art forms. To me, it's all about health and health ever. Yes, bodybuilding in itself is an art form because you have to do posing, you have to do dancing in a way with the music, but it's more than art. So that's important to know.
Do steroids help create a better show for the audience, or are they ultimately hindering the sport?
I think this statement by the maker, Vladimir, I don't know his last name, is it better for overall, for the looks, for the development, for... I haven't heard health. Is it better for the health? Which is a very, very important question. We probably get into this in this particular documentary, but the first statement is important to also bring the health side of things in it.
If you're going to be great in anything, you have to be a student of it first.
Lee Haney, he's right.
I've worked with men who will say, if you told me that taking anabolic steroids is going to take 20 years off my life, I would still do it, because at least I would be big and muscular in the time I was here.
That's an important one. It's a doctor here speaking about, I don't know these credentials of these people, okay? It's what I assume. When people are taking the bet, whenever the question comes, if it's going to cut 20 years of your life, would you still do it? Yes, because I'm going to be more muscular and bigger. This is the biggest problem of bodybuilding and the development of a strong body and a physique that is impressing. People want that outside attention for themselves for the sake of the looks. Zero health. It's what I see every single day here inside the gym, and it's what destroying the whole spectrum of the health and fitness side, or the health side of fitness and bodybuilding on itself. People have a lot of assumptions about bodybuilding, even when back in the days when I was, meeting someone, a girl, or coming back to their homes, and then their parents were like, oh, this is a bodybuilder dude, I can tell you right now, building muscles is the best thing you can do for your life. So unless we have that different perspective, we can understand. But because of there's a lot of drugs involved, the image of it is totally, wiped out. What I wanted to say is, people look at an external motivation where it is not within themselves to start this sport of bodybuilding. Their why is simply to impress people, to attract people, to show them power or whatever they have, because they have been very insecure. This is with a lot of guys. But once you find another way to find true purpose in doing this, you have a different solution to that problem. And it is not found within drugs. But let's proceed.
Steroids aren't addictive. Steroids never killed anybody. There's no physiological proof. It's never been shown. It's all what the media wants you to see.
Ben Pakulski. These were pretty blunt statements of him that it never, killed someone. I don't think this is the case. But hey, whatever.
I want to say this, that I believe in drug-free bodybuilding. And I think it's very, very important as a person in the spotlight that when it comes to talking about what choice should be made, is that unenhanced bodybuilding is the way to go. And that can be done in every organization.
Kai Green, the man himself, talking about unenhanced bodybuilding. I think Kai Green would have been a very great natural bodybuilder. In fact, he was, up until the time that he was getting into the enhanced world, which eventually turned into a monstrous kind of a person. But I would, without a doubt, he would have been one of the best natural bodybuilders ever.
These international competitions claim to enforce strict drug policies on their athletes and test them with the same standards used for the Olympics. The Professional Natural Bodybuilding Association.
Tests like the Olympics? Doubtful. Strictly testing is good, and it's, with all the good intentions they have, you are never going to rule it out 100%. Not even 50%. Someone has not used for a long time. So for certain organizations, catch this, for certain organizations, you have to be 7 years natural, okay? 7 years natural, which means in the past you could have used, but if you have not been using for 7 years, you can be entering bodybuilding competition. In no way you can measure it when somebody was in fact natural or not. So that whole rule, is no purpose at all. With just being honest, it has no purpose at all. So there are multiple things people use. There are multiple things even that get out of the system within 2-3 days. Growth hormone, for example, is a thing, you cannot catch with drug testing. You can do whatever you want with all good intentions. You're not going to catch someone who's using growth hormone. So the drug testing itself, I have to be honest with you, and this is the big problem of all sports which are involved with drugs and their testing policies. You have to do everything in your possibility to rule out it. So for some organizations, what they do is they have a screening, they have polygraphs, they have blood testing, urine testing, and all that stuff, which is very costly. Not all organizations make use of all the possibilities to test in a single bout because of the investment issue that comes with it. It costs a lot of money. So yeah, although strictly tested, it isn't.
Originally from Wales, Rob came to US to pursue a career in professional wrestling before making a name for himself in natural bodybuilding.
Rob Terry, reigning natural Olympia champion. From the very first moment I saw him, I knew there was something stinking. I'm just gonna be honest with you. And I don't care what everybody thinks about it. Normally I don't really care who is natural or not, because I know I'm in it for myself, and I know as well that I care about myself and not with what other people are doing, if they're natural or not. But as I like to do competitions, I have to keep an open eye to what enters the stage and if I want to be representing that particular organization. When Rob Terry turned natural Mr. Olympia, I had my doubts, I'm gonna be honest. And the last time the natural Olympia was, I didn't had him as first place. So if there are politics involved, yes or no, I don't know. But I know something was stinking. He was coming to the US, I guess they said here, to do professional wrestling. Professional wrestling, a lot of people in professional wrestling are using anabolic steroids. So that makes already a suspicion when I hear those things. But it doesn't mean it is true. So therefore, I started to look further, but I just want to hear his story right now, and then I'm going to give my critique, what I honestly think.
At 6'4", he towers over most of his peers with a physique that can...
Okay, the first thing that I see that bothered me is the enormous gyno this guy has. I know because I've talked to an endocrinologist here in the Netherlands talking about this gyno that people has. A lot of people, whenever they're in their teenager years, what happens is their body transitions, becoming a man. And up until the age of 18, I guess, if you are a male, your body doesn't quite know if it's going to be a female or a male. And therefore, you also have these female hormones running through you as a teenager. And therefore, you're creating this substance underneath the nipple in the breast whenever you're a male. And then you have the hard knobs, okay? That's gynecomastia or gyno. But it goes away with all people. And you probably had it in your teenager years. You felt like something hard in it, painful maybe. But it goes away with 99.9%. Some people hold it, others, most of them, it gets away. Which brings a lot of suspicion. Because if you see someone with gyno, the chances are that they have had that gyno for a very long time since their teenager years. It's very small. So that brings suspicion. We even had in the untested shows here in the Netherlands, you were actually penalized for it when you have enormous gyno. So they really said, untested shows, they said to the people, you rather have surgery and get it removed because it doesn't look right. So even in the untested arena, gyno is being penalized. So now here comes a guy who wins the Natural Olympia with humongous gyno. And that was suspicious to me. But we will hear his story out.
Over the decades, we've seen some freaks of nature that you would say, man, those guys are on the juice. They're taking steroids. I don't care what you say. And you'll hear people say that about Rob. That's just a statement without any facts behind it. They just look like they've taken steroids.
And he's saying that people are accusing Rob of steroid use, but he just looks freaking big, and therefore people assume that.
He's asked by Rob to run his blood work multiple times, and thoroughly convinced that he's a natural athlete, and that's one great thing.
So he is running multiple times these drugs tests to show that he isn't enhanced. We will get back to this. The problem of it is, if someone used in his prior years, half year even, the problem is you cannot find it. So hear me out on this. If someone, most of the muscle mass comes from a period he was using, let's say 10 years, during his wrestling years, and he stopped for quite some time, getting involved into bodybuilding, yes, you're gonna come out clean. But you have always the benefits of the prior use of anabolic steroids. There is the problem. If you have seen my scientific video, linked here, about home trainings, you also know that I have a piece in there about what muscle memory really is. That the body always remembers its biggest state it was in, with and without use of anabolic steroids. So if you have been using anabolic steroids and you were bigger than your body naturally could be, your body feels that, your body senses that, and your body installs certain things like satellite cells in all mechanisms to remember that state, enhanced or not. Whenever you stop using and you start get back through training again, and this time without stuff, your body still knows, but I was this big before, whether I was using steroids, therefore I know what I'm able to get back to. So you always have an advantage to get big at a level that is naturally impossible. So let's proceed.
The thing about Rob, open book, show up at his house, test him anytime type person. And you know,
So the whole thing that I wanted to say, yeah, they're saying he's an open book, does all the testing. Yes, of course. Now he isn't using probably. So yeah, if he's not using now, but he still maintained all the mass he had and has all the benefits of using steroids before, I would go every single day to the testing laboratory and say, passed. There's a problem.
And one of the things that I told Ironman magazine, I told my sponsors, and I also told the president of the IMBA PMBA, is that it's really important for me as a champion of the IMBA to not only be tested on the show, which I've been tested every single time that I've won the title, but I also want to be tested throughout the year randomly.
Of course you want to be tested.
Have
Nothing
you
to worry.
ever considered?
Okay, so this was Rob Terry. I've looked up already on the screen. I will put them in the screen here. But I'm sorry, Rob, my man. I found pictures of you whenever you were in the wrestling realm of things. And if you think this is naturally attainable with gigantic gyno, I have a problem with that. If you think this is okay, I have a problem with that. If you think it even gets worse and you are looking like a water balloon and the nipple is popping out like it is a golf ball and your arms getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I have a problem with that. So now we have heard a story about Rob Terry and how terrible it was about kidneys and stuff like that. When I can put my money on his state of natural being, and I've been for a long time inside this world, guys, I've seen them on and off, I can 100% say, Rob, you have been a former user of anabolic steroids or testosterone at a minimum, where you've been using it heavily, where gynecomastia or gyno was the result of it. This is my analysis of it. This is my true and honest view on Rob Terry. This is my problem with the current organization. Because even though you have the rule of 7 years staying natural without ever touching anabolic steroids, you can never test for that. It's a rule that has no power at all. You cannot test for it. So of course, you're going to test yourself every single day. Of course, you're going to have aspirations to be a very long natural bodybuilding champion. But this is the problem. If this is what is available about Rob Terry, its natural state is questionable. And the stories behind them are questionable. And this is my honest opinion.